Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Dr. Matthew Nielsen and I love to talk about classical music. And today we're going to talk about the things that I would tell my younger self if I was starting my music studies this fall. So if you're starting your music education this fall, either at the college, university, or conservatory level, first of all, congratulations. That's fantastic. You got into study music. That's not something that everyone is able to do. That's not something that everyone is admitted into doing. The fact that you're doing that now is a big deal, and you deserve a huge amount of congratulations and kudos. Studying music is going to change the direction of your life. If I was going to give some advice to my younger self, if I was going back in time, here's some of the things that I would tell myself. Number one, your reputation begins the moment you step through the front doors. Everything else beforehand, you can wipe clean. You can have a blank slate. But when you enter university, that's when things start to matter a lot more. If you come in with a positive attitude, with a good work ethic, and with a spirit of camaraderie, that will have a lasting impact on the way that people view you as one of their colleagues. If you come in with an attitude, if you come in with an unwillingness to work, if you come in with an unwillingness to be prepared, etc., that can sometimes haunt you for a while. It's not that reputations can't be repaired, but it can sometimes take a while. It can take months and sometimes years to repair. Long story short, it starts now. You get a blank slate, it starts now. Going along with that idea about meeting your new colleagues, the second thing I would tell my younger self is don't treat your fellow students as competition, but as colleagues. That is a huge deal, right? And sometimes you are competing for few spots, right? There are only, not every baritone in the department can sing Don Giovanni. Not every piano player gets to play the piano concerto. Not everyone gets that one spot. Having said that, though, the people that I met at university, the people that I met studying music, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, these are people that I now work with on a regular basis. These are my colleagues that I associate with. I am still working with people that I met 20 years ago in my undergrad. Oh my God. Wow, it's been 20 years. Whew. Yeah, I still work with them. It's led to many great partnerships and great working relationships. They're your friends. Treat them like your friends. By the way, if you like this video, this is your invitation to hit that like button. And if you want more content about classical music, make sure you hit subscribe. Another thing I will say is bloom where you're planted. Now, you may be blessed to be part of a really fantastic, really storied conservatory, school of music. Maybe you aren't. Maybe you are at a very small liberal arts college and your department is very small. Maybe you had a dream of going someplace else and you're at your safety school right now. Maybe you weren't able to get into a school this year. Maybe you're going to community college and hammering out some basic coursework before you go on to transfer to another school. There's no problem with that. Bloom where you're planted. Make the best of every single opportunity. You might find yourself in a small town with very few opportunities. If you continue to bloom where you're planted, that will lead you to other places and other opportunities. But if you sort of shrug and put up your shoulders and say, well, I don't really know, I'm dealing with the limitations of where I am, then you're going to get stuck with the limitations of where you are. That's the third thing. Okay, the fourth thing. Your musicianship classes will make you more hireable. These include your music theory classes, your dictation classes, and your sight singing classes. And you might think to yourself, these feel really stupid, these feel really useless, these feel like things that don't actually apply to what I want to do in music at all. I promise you, they will. As a working musician, being in those musician classes made me a better sight reader, which made me more marketable and more hireable as a singer. Those dictation classes made me a better composer. They allowed me to learn how to write music better and be able to create better compositions for my clients. Those music theory and history classes absolutely laid the groundwork and foundation for everything else on top of that, which made me a better musician, which made me more marketable, which made me get hired more. Treat your musician classes very seriously. They will make you more marketable. The fifth thing, find every opportunity you can to collaborate with your fellow musicians, and if you can, your faculty as well. I think many of my favorite memories from my music education were all the collaborations that I did outside of class and outside of rehearsal hours. Some of my favorite memories include finding a random Palestrina motet off the Choral Public Domain library and getting together with some friends and just sight reading it a couple of times and then going out into the gallery space in our building and singing it in that really wonderful acoustic. Those are some of my favorite memories. Those are some things that I really cherished. It helped make me a better musician, it helped make me a better sight reader, and it was just fun. It was just fun to be able to get together with friends and just make music for fun. That's all. And that leads to another point, which is to just keep it fun. Whenever you start to study any single subject with a great deal of intensity, it can sometimes squeeze the joy and fun out of that subject. Even if you love that subject, no matter the subject, whether it's music, photography, English, art, French, any of these law, it's important to keep things fun and to not let the intensity of the study suck the life out of it. And there will be moments when you will just be in a music history class or a dictation class or a music theory class, and you will start to question, why am I doing this? Why am I studying this? This particular aspect of this music isn't fun, but other parts are. It's important to remember those. It's important to lean into those. See my other points about finding opportunities to collaborate and also seeing your colleagues as collaborators and future colleagues rather than as competition. These are all related to each other. Another thing I'll say is accept challenges, but watch out for abusive behavior from faculty. A lot of the psychological and mental and verbal abuse, and especially physical abuse, that musicians and teachers used to levy on their students, a lot of that's in the past, but it's not entirely gone. It's important to recognize it for what it is and find a way out of it. Now, what do I mean by that? What is the difference between challenging a student and abusing a student? Challenging a student is saying, the way that you're playing this prelude is really not where it needs to be. It needs to be in a better shape. Can you take more time outside of class to focus on this? That's challenging somebody. Or this is not quite in tune, or this is not quite where it needs to be. Let's focus on this. Will you focus on this in your practice hours? Or saying, hey, the way that you're performing this is not the way we conventionally perform it. Why don't you think about it like this? That's challenging a student. Abusing a student is saying, the way that you performed this measure was the worst I've ever heard. You'll never amount to anything if you cannot play this prelude. I don't know why we accepted you. If you don't do what I say, I'm not writing you a letter of recommendation. That's abuse. And that's something that you should steer clear of. The last thing that I would tell my younger self, to hopefully end on a lighter note, is you're gonna go through a little bit of a period of music snobbery. And that's okay, but you should grow out of that as quick as you can. Remember, good music is good music, and just because it's not done in this classical music style doesn't mean it's less than. Just because someone is performing any popular music style doesn't mean it's inherently less than. Great music is great music, and if a lot of people like it, there's something to it, and that's something that we should be open to and examine. We don't necessarily have to agree that we like it, but we do have to try and understand why other people do. So yeah, those are all things that I would tell my younger self if I could go back in time. So like I said, congratulations, good luck, work hard, make us proud, and have fun. So what about you? What are some pieces of advice that you would give your younger self if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self on the first day of music school? What would you tell your younger self? Put it down in the comments below. Now, if you're like me and you had parents that were nervous or concerned or unsure about having you major in music, and they need a little bit of reassurance, then I have a video for them as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and keep it classical. Congratulations and kudos. Welcome to welcome to hell. Studying music is going to change the direction of your life in many ways for the better, not in all ways. Oh, wow. We're off to a great start.